whatever's going on with Morgan, my guess is there's more going on there, maybe contractually or something else. I'm curious if he's at OTAs. I know there's like 15 guys that aren't there. I think that could be fairly telling. But my thought is Ron kind of wants everybody out with ties to the old administration. And we can talk about Sam Cosmi or Charles Leno or, how good was Cornelius Lucas. I don't think that shit matters. I think this is about everybody in this building knows that my voice is the final voice. Nobody in this building, because people always hear oh, he has a relationship with Dan and assume that's a terrible thing, right? It's not always terrible. The owner in every city knows the players that have been there a while. If you get a second contract in the NFL, if you're drafted and get a second contract, you probably know the owner because on some level that dude has paid you $5 million, and then in that second contract he's probably paying you $10 million. So he wants to know you. And this isn't working for Kodak or something where there's 40,000 employees. The Washington football team probably employs about 250, 300 people, and 100 of them are the football operation, and the owner's going to know them all. That's just how it is. So, I think this is more about, Ron being in charge, and now that he's in a position where Morgan doesn't necessarily have to be part of the long-term plan, he's able to make some changes. Because think about who goes back to 2019 on this team. Name them.
I'm about to say, all you got is Terry. I'm about to say, it's really Terry.
But JP, you also know what's interesting? Over the years, Morgan has become more comfortable with himself and started being more vocal as well. So, with that narrative,
got a lot of money in the bank.
Doing weekly shows on radio as well. So it's just maybe Ron doesn't want him to be that voice of the team in some regard. He kind of probably wants to shift the gear and move on to the next thing. And also the way that even stuff played out with Trent Williams last year, Morgan had a lot to say about that as well.
Yeah, now a lot of that predates Ron, right? But then when Trent and Ron met, it wasn't a great meeting. I don't think Ron minds outspoken people. Ron coached Cam Newton, right? He can handle players doing their own thing. I'm curious if there's some money stuff involved. Morgan was set to make.
That's what I think.
Morgan was set
7.5.
Right. You know what Lane Johnson's making or Jack Conklin? There are now. I'm just pulling 16. This up. I'm pulling this up on Over the Cap. There are 5 tackles making $10 million or more next season.
Yeah.
And we're talking that's his. Let me pull it up. We're talking that's his cap charge. What he's actually making, because remember he got whatever his signing bonus was. He's already gotten. So what he's actually making next year isn't. He's probably making 7.5, but being charged 9.6. He probably wants to be making 11, or I don't think any of that shit's guaranteed anymore. I'm sure he'd like some guarantees, especially who's the guy in Denver that just blew out his knee and the team cut him?
Jawan James.
Yeah.
And I don't know that, right? My guess is there's a little more bubbling here than Ron just wants Morgan out. But I do think Ron wants guys out that have ties to the old regime.